Oh, psychiatrist. Love them to death. Oh, I love them to death. Yeah, I better be careful. That might sound like a threat. So, the love to death thing. Anyways, um, one second. I never saw a psychiatrist until, well, this is back in '99, and I'm talking to this lady who I called an original babe. Okay, there was like 42 of them. And this is back in '99 when I had this. I thought there was like this babe list of 42 ladies, and I got them all psychically, and for real they were very elusive. But I called one for real, and she was in Colorado, and she tells me that Chris, maybe if you're looking for your ladies, okay, and she's being pretty cool about this, but she's like, if you're looking for your ladies, maybe you should go to maybe United Hospital. And like, really? I mean, it's like United Hospital, United with my ladies, huh? And for some reason, she talked me into going to the mental ward. I can't remember how she did that, but I guess I was sounding a little crazy at the time, and that's a new one. I wouldn't have ever. I've never heard that before. But so anyways, I have my wife drop me off there, and I'm thinking that this is going to be a party, you know. I'm gonna get some tail, and with my ladies, right? And so I walk in there and I say, listen, I'm Jesus, and I'm looking for my wife. And within 5 minutes, I was bipolar. That's all it took. It doesn't take much craziness to impress a psychiatrist. So I had no idea I didn't know what a psychiatrist was. I didn't know what the hell it meant. So I had no clue what the hell that meant. When she was walking me into that, I don't know what the hell she was doing. I have no. I think I was doing some stuff with my magic with the babes, and they were getting a little bit freaked. Everybody's getting a little bit freaked out, and I think. I don't. It's like. Anyways, it was my destiny to walk in that place, evidently, because. And coincidence enough, guess what day it was? It was on Good Friday of 1999. Good Friday. So here it is. Jesus is walking into. A guy who proclaims he's Jesus is walking into a psychiatric ward and saying that he's, saying that I'm Jesus, I'm looking for my wives. And they're like, well, come on this way. We'll help you find them. Yes, come on. And a little within 5 minutes, they were asking me about my background. On my mom's side is a little bit of a psyche, a little bit of a. I forget, she's got seven or eight siblings, and I think 3 or 4 of them are mentally challenged, if not a little bit retarded, but it's a little sort of autistic. And so, that's all it takes to hear it. Crazy man Chris walks in, and he's got some relatives that are nuts, so, he's bipolar. Anyway, so I'm on drugs, and I was thinking that this was some kind of these drugs were, what's the word? What is, one second. Oh, Viagra. So I was thinking it was Viagra because I was just feeling so different. It was, I figured out they're setting me up. They're getting me Viagra so I could keep it up all night, But no, there was no ladies, and I the hours were by, and I'm thinking that I'm meeting people in meetings, and it was, it was interesting. At the same time, I'm wondering where my ladies are, right? And I'm in this world where I'm thinking this was seriously going to happen, right? I was at the time in '99, man. I was thinking this thing was real, big time. And I was getting, it was. So, one second. So I get out of there on the following Monday, which I guess you could say is on the third day. Some say the third day would be the Monday. Got out, so I rose again. So Jesus is crucified. What happens is I'm socially crucified by walking in and I'm being told that I'm mentally ill. So now I'm a crazy man. And that's the social crucifixion. And I rose on the third day, coming out on Monday, okay? It was a 72-hour hold. They had me on 72-hour hold, and I got out on Monday. So I get home, and I'm thinking, what the hell has just happened here? What is this drugs thing? I mean, So I take them for, I don't know, 2 more days. I forget, 2 or 3 more days. Anyways, because I was like, what in the world? This isn't Viagra. What is this crap, you know? What is going on here? Where are my ladies, right? And one second. So it wasn't long after that I got, I worked at United Way, so check out that link whenever I get it updated. Yeah, I was pretty out there in 1999. One second. It turned out that the dose, it sort of went off, like I said, I sort of went off the drugs because I was like, you know, I thought this was some prank. This ain't Viagra, you know. So I got, it turns out that I got enough drugs to be able to go through my morph. I call it the metamorphization. And that was in April of '99. It wasn't long. It was, the United Way job only lasted 2 weeks, and it was about a week. Within a week later, I morphed, and evidently the drugs caused that to happen. And I sort of knew that. I sort of knew it, I guess, at the time, that the drugs sort of helped make that possible. I needed the drugs to morph, to spiritually, to advance to the next stage in my spirituality, which would be the morph. But I guess I really wasn't quite sure that, I mean, I was resistant to taking drugs. I just didn't take them for a while. So during this journey I was on, what do I call it? One second. I guess I call it the level 1 journey for the next few months, about 3 months until, about 2 months, until June. And there was a lot of wild stuff going on, and I may have been taking a little bit of lithium, and I don't know, I wasn't taking much at the time during this journey. If I did take some, it wasn't much or consistent. It was when one second. So check out the link for level 1 journey, because it was quite a ride. And it convinced me that this thing was so real that I just was getting really pissed off that, you know, nothing is happening other than a wild story. And that's good enough, but I guess I thought I was going to get laid, okay? And when you have that kind of a carrot in front of your nose, you sort of start getting like upset at life. So I'm saying some weird stuff to my mom, and I had moved home during this level 1 journey, and moved to my folks' my parents' place, and I'm saying some weird stuff. Let me think if I can remember what it was. I'm just saying some weird stuff about my show to my mom, like maybe I think the Immaculate Conception was happening, and I was, and like I have a kid, I have like maybe 2 kids or something from when I was 19, something, got a couple ladies pregnant. Diana is an example. Anyway, she just got concerned, and she tricked me. Was calling up New Ulm Hospital to schedule me to show up there for some reason. But when I got there, they caged me. So she was tricking me into getting caged. So that was my second caging. And 72-hour hold again. Not too eventful, other than the fact that I was a little pissed off at my mom for doing that. I do not think she'd appreciate it if I did that to her. We've talked about that since, and anyway, she made mention that she wouldn't have wanted that done to her, but she did it to me. It just happened to happen. It got me introduced to the drugs again. I think Zyprexa was now available, and I was on Depakote as well. So I was taking this. I didn't know at the time, but evidently I needed the drugs to enhance my spirituality. I still was unaware that the drugs were good for me. But I was taking them now pretty solidly, I think. I got to GE, and you got to check out the story at GE, but the link for that. But it's taking them pretty solidly, seeing a doctor in Sioux Falls, and one second. I need to jump to the end and let you know that I realize now that I need the drugs, but that I need to go sort of off them. When you go off them, it solidifies the reality of the world and makes it a little bit more magical. Makes the real world a little bit more magical when I go off them for, say, a week. But again, I didn't know this until probably 2000, when the bees died, 2006 December, around 2007 January. And I'll talk about that, what happened then. But yeah, so I'm unaware that, other than being told that I need to take these stupid drugs, that I didn't realize that I need to take the stupid drugs. I'm frustrated this whole process about getting caged up and seeing a psychiatrist for being crazy and on these drugs, and I'm not unsure why I'm taking these drugs, and I just taking them because I guess I'm told and I'm a good boy, so I'm taking this stuff in 1999 probably until the end of the year. So now in 2000 I no longer, so at some point I'm no longer taking them. I just find it's easier to get, it's a funner time. I have a funner time without them. I'm more of a joking personality. I'm a little bit better, a more normal personality, a funner personality without them. Again, I'm not understanding that I need to be on them, but that would soon take place when I'm under the impression that my coworkers are poisoning me at GE, and this is in 2000. So in August, I think it was August of 2000. I got poisoned so heavily that, well, some pizza evidently got me, and I'm throwing up, and I mean throwing up. Anyway, it was nasty. Anyways, I tell a coworker, I tell Noah at GE that, hey, I think somebody poisoned me. I'm a little mystified how, but they did it somehow. And so he's like, well, just go get your blood tested. Let's find out. So I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. Let's get the blood tested. Good idea. Turns out that when you go into a hospital and you say, listen, I think I may have been poisoned and I just want to get my blood checked. Well, they do a little background check and they find out that I'm a crazy man. So when a crazy man says that they've been harmed by somebody, well, that's just because you're crazy. It's not because there could be any truth to it. So they disregard all laws set aside to protect human beings, and for animals like me, they break laws and they cage me. So that was my third caging. It was in August of 2008. Excuse me, August of 2000. One second. Again, check out the GE link for more details on the caging. But Noah, he's like, dude, man, I didn't know that was going to happen, that you could get caged up for that. He's just shocked, and I'm shocked too. I'm like, I'm just trying to get my blood checked, right? See if this thing is happening. If it had been a day. I went in there a day after I threw up. I waited in the day just to, analyze, and I wasn't sure. It was but I'm sure the stuff would have still been in my system. But it would be to no avail. I had some coffee that I suspect was laced, and I brought that in. They threw that away. They didn't test my blood for any poisons. They just gave me, they injected something into my arm to sedate me because I'm a crazy man. I'm a crazy animal, rabid. Evidently I was foaming at the mouth or something. I am joking about that, but I'm making a joke about this animal thing because it appears to be that I am an animal. I am not really a human anymore because humans, it's interesting, on the wall of the hospital, first I went into the hospital, ER, and I told them that I wanted my blood checked. On the there's a sticker on the wall that says Poison Control Center, and it's got a number. Well, see, that's made for humans. That's the number you call when you're a human. When you're an animal like me, you go to the mental institution because evidently you can't be right. I mean, we're just going to disregard our laws of protection. Very frustrating. I mean, and I didn't. And they put me on such a dosage of Zyprexa at this point and Depakote that it would knock out a horse. I mean, on all my doctors throughout the 10-year history, a decade of this, I don't think the dosage has ever gone down. Maybe late at the very end, I'll tell you about at the VA when I had a medical condition, but it's either stayed the same or gone up. I mean, and I guess I'm so drugged up and just obedient that I don't think about this stuff. I don't think about that fact that, why should I be taking this crap? 1 second. Yeah, I think 20 milligrams of Zyprexa and I think 500 milligrams of Depakote every day. And I took it. I just wasn't fighting back. I was too drugged up to actually think that I should maybe stop taking it so that I could do a better job at work because I'm having my performance is declining. I'm not able to quite think. I'm having trouble getting up in the morning. It's very groggy. It's like the stuff is almost dangerous in the morning driving to work. I'm having troubles getting up. I'm just lagging getting to work, and one second. Again, check out the GE link for a little bit more about this. But when I got fired, when I got fired from GE, dismissed, eventually fired, I was now concerned because post 9/11, post 9/11, one second. Yeah, post 9/11, it was hard to get a job. It was now very tough, and I was looking around. I'm drugged up still. I haven't gone off my drugs. I started going off my drugs during this process when I was laid off and I was suicidal. When I got dismissed, I started becoming suicidal. And looking for a job, it just became difficult to do anything at this point because basically I'm so drugged up. I started going off the drugs, but I found that I couldn't. I was having trouble getting to sleep because I was so used to having 10 hours of sleep a night that it was almost an addiction. Trying to break the addiction of the drugs. But again, this was from the dismissal to getting fired was about, let me see here, how many months? 4 months? 5 months maybe. 1 second. It's about 5 months, and then there was another 3 months. Let's see, July, August, September, 3 more months from the firing till 1 second. There was 3 more months until I moved. 1 second. I was trying to wean myself. I was so suicidal that I suspected the drugs were doing it. They're supposed to. These drugs are supposed to stop the manic and depressive in a person. And by the way, I really don't have manic or depressive. It's just, anyways, these drugs, their nature is to stop depression and stop manic. Unfortunately, I thought that the drugs were actually causing me to be more depressed. In other words, it's supposed to stop me from being depressed, but they're actually, I think, making me more depressed. So I started going off them, started weaning myself, but it was hard for the sleep. I was almost addicted to the stuff. One second. It was just real difficult to go off little by little. I was trying to do little by little, but it was just being very difficult. I was using over-the-counter sleep medications to help make it okay. It wasn't working though. It was just a hard time. So I get this job and finally get a lead in for a job in Texas. So I fly down there and it just didn't go well. It was a 2-week trial, and I just couldn't think with this job. I just couldn't outperform. I don't know. It was just I was just missing the edge that I used to have. So that was it. After that failed, I said I got to get off these. And again, it was hard because of the sleep problems. Couldn't get to sleep. That was the problem. Couldn't get to sleep because of these things. Anyways, we moved shortly after that, and so I'm in Redwood Falls, Smallville again. I moved from Sioux Falls to Redwood Falls. You know, I'm still not in a good state of mind. I'm still somewhat suicidal, but it's much better now. I've gotten off the drugs pretty much by the time I moved there. I'm no longer really suicidal. In fact, I became... One sec. I started perking up when this email from this guy named Quincy Taylor. It was back in '99 when we'd been emailing each other for 2 or 3 months, maybe 4. And I never talked to him on the phone. It was just all via email. So I called him up just shortly before he moved, and I find out that he's never heard of me nor emailed me ever. So I realized that this was the CIA or some undercover, somebody operating as him, and this has given new hope to my life. It's like, okay, my show's back on. This for literally 2 or 3 years I basically turned it off and said this is not happening. And then this is coincidentally while on the drugs, and then I go off the drugs, and next thing you know, my show is back on, or I'm back in this world in which people are watching me. And so there's a coincidence there between going off the drugs and becoming delusional again, in some sense. But it also is I go off the drugs and I become just much more keenly aware of life, much more intelligent, and I was able to figure this out. I started figuring out a bunch of things, and I started creating my site, My Truman Show. This is shortly after I moved to Redwood, but I'm off the drugs now, and basically I'm in this head over heels, and starting to get into this thing again. One second. So I started again. I'm back in this world, and I'm actually my intelligence is now. I've got my wit back. Without the drugs, I'm now a little bit smarter, you would think. Well, anyway, I said, you know, if I'm being watched by the CIA, why not just send them a message? Why not talk to them? And so I get on their website, start sending them some messages. You know, if you know about my site, or if you know about me and you're watching me, why don't you give me a call? Let me know if it's you get your nay. Let me know what's going on. So I can put this thing to bed, you know. Stop, you know. Let's find out if my show is going on, right? This is why not? This is the way to test it out, right? And this is a pretty darn good idea. So I send messages, and it's going on for 2-3 weeks. I just moved to. It's about a week after I moved to Redwood. About 2 weeks. But 2 weeks. One second. In the process of these messages, there was nothing coming back. They weren't calling me. I said, you know what? I asked again. You know, what the heck? You know, I want somebody to talk to me to find out what's going on. So message after message was being delivered for 2 weeks. About 50 messages, I'm guessing, 50, around that many. And they're not calling me. And so I'm now really into this world. I'm thinking this is on. It only took me about 2 or 3 days, maybe 4, to realize that, you know, something's up here. They're not calling me because they're watching me, and they don't want me to know anything. They just want to keep me in the dark, you know. And so now I'm off. I'm here. I'm trying to test this thing out. I need somebody to call me up and say, no, this isn't happening. And now I'm off in a world in which this is happening. Now I'm really in this world. This is happening, and I've been right this whole time. Pretty much, I'm convinced, you know, that you know, since '99, I was right. This email correspondence with Kwesi Taylor, you know, he has no clue who I am. No, he has no recollection of email. So somebody was masquerading as him and pretending to be. There was some email I was sending to this character that was of my show, talking about the past, and so I'm really into this now. And so I'm thinking this is where I get a little bit. I get carried away with my sense of humor, and this is, you know, with my heightened sense of intelligence comes my great comedy wit. But for some reason, I push to the edge with my comedy bits. So here it is. I'm telling the CIA and the website I'm going to connect a gag here, and they're telling me that it's coming up on Halloween. It's right on Halloween of 2002 when this occurs. When the following occurs, I'm telling them, you know, psychically and through some messages that I'm going to connect a gag here. At my mom's place, I'm going to make a fake bomb threat. Anyways, look up the fake bomb threat link. But after what happened there, I got caged up. I got caged up for a week. And, you know, post 9/11, I guess I should be lucky that that's all that occurred. Again, I'm thinking, well, it's probably because, you know, they don't want... It's not a very good show if I'm in a prison cell, right? For the CIA, you know, it's... So... I'm look up the messages for the. I think I have a link for the CIA and FBI messages, but I want to jump ahead just to the psychiatry thing here. So that's my third caging, and 1 second. Actually, that's my fourth caging. 1, 2, 3, fourth caging. Anyways, from that, I am back on my drugs, still unaware that the drugs are good for me. I also realized that I was aware somewhat that they were good for me in the sense that when I went off them, it causes what I call level 2 is what happened on Halloween of 2002. Sort of a journey where I'm talking to the FBI, CIA, and these things are kind of going on. This really has, in hindsight, it doesn't seem like a whole lot happened, but it seemed like a lot was happening at the time. So I'm taking my drugs again, not quite as prescribed, and I'm just trying to stay out of trouble here. So let me just skip ahead. Let's see. 1 second. At this point, I'm in Redwood Falls, and I'd say in 2003, 2004. I'm scared of psychiatrists for some reason. Can't remember why, but you know, they maybe just I'm just upset about what's going on. I guess at this point I'm pissed off over it. When it happened, I got poisoned over in Sioux Falls, and they put me in a cage and didn't test my blood for poison. I'm trying to figure out a way to sue them, and I don't know how to do it yet. And I guess I'm just pretty pissed off at psychiatrists for not taking me seriously when I say I'm being poisoned. So I just do not feel like talking to psychiatrists. One second. So I ended up getting some of my Zyprexa from online store. Not even getting it through the psychiatry. I needed some more, so I just got it online. So I'm still using it up. It's not quite as prescribed. 1 second. I would start seeing a psychiatrist via the I started getting in trouble with the law with restraining orders via the words on my website. Check out that link. But yeah, I'm getting in trouble, and to the point of I'm kind of almost court ordered to take some drugs and see. I'm seeing a psychiatrist now, and 1 second. And toward the end of Smallville, 2004, around summer, I'm basically pissed off everybody on my website. Check out those links, and I'm gonna leave town. I'm gonna leave town and go to Metropolis, Burnsville, Minnesota, and I'm having a trouble with my wrist. I have a ganglion cyst on my left wrist here, and it's never had been a problem, never ever, except one time in my life, and it happened to be right around September, August. It's really painful. I'm having trouble even bending my wrist at this point. Never had a problem before this or after. And I mean after, it would last about 2 to 3 months, and what stopped it is that I would go get it checked out when I got to Burnsville. I would go get it checked out, and I also wanted to tell my doctor in Burnsville that I was I had 2 concussions in '99 when this kind of started, skiing, and I was going to get it checked out, get my head checked out, maybe an MRI. And I told him I was God. So, and it didn't take long before he said, "Hey, you see that ambulance out there? Yeah, that's for you." I guess this God thing didn't appeal to him too well, and so that's my 5th caging. And I'm pissed off once more, but I meet some nice people, and again, there's a lot to be told here. I'm going to break this up into other links, each of these cagings. So I'm kind of giving a synopsis here, kind of brief what's going on. So that'd be the 5th. And then the 6th caging would be the Burnsville Police. When I went to see them, look at that link. And I got caged for that one. And that was at the VA, where I'm caged, and I'll talk about that link sometime later. 1 second. So that's the 5th caging. What happened in between that one and the 6th caging would be I'm on drugs for literally 2 years now, and I'm on Depakote and Risperdal. I went from Zyprexa to Risperdal. Much better system here. This 1 second. I should say as a result of the Unitarian restraining order, I was now on court-ordered mandatory 2-year probation and drugs with the VA. So I'm on these drugs for 2 years, and I'm on Risperdal. I would go through a medical condition I'm going to talk about in a second. 1 second. So I was court ordered for 2 years. It was about 1.5 years. In December of 2006, and about 2 or 3 months before this, I started noticing that. Well, first of all, plug your ears up, or just skip the next portion here if you're not like. You haven't gone through puberty or something. This is a little bit graphic. So what happened is when I'm masturbating, and I'm not doing it much because I'm no longer really human because I'm so drugged up. Okay, so I'm not doing it but once every 2 weeks, and when I do it, nothing's coming out. So I orgasm and nothing comes out, no ejaculate. So for some reason, I knew this was not looking, this wasn't good, but I was just too drugged up to realize that, perhaps I should stop using it. So it literally took me about 2 or 3 months before I actually stopped with this kind of condition. I'm so drugged up for 2 or 3 months that, anyway, so drugged up that I can no longer ejaculate. It was just, I don't know if you got to see it just to understand what that's like. But my doctor calls it sexual dysfunction, and to me, it's like throwing a wrench into a gearbox. It's not really dysfunction; it's completely screwing it up. It's kind of like, I believe there's a valve in your testes that goes up, it goes into the urethra, is it urethra canal? The canal for the penis hole, whatever. I don't know the technical terms here, but if that valve isn't doing something, then I'm assuming that it's going somewhere. It's like, where's it going? I know I got sperm, so if it's not going out, then where's it going, and why isn't it going? And to me, it's not sexual dysfunction. It is something like a catastrophe in which you throw a wrench into a gearbox and just let it grind. Okay, it is much more severe to me than just sexual dysfunction. It is you are somehow really messed up in your valve mechanics. So, and it took me, of course, 2 or 3 months to actually do something about it. So in around December 10th, I went off the drugs. Well, I did a test. I masturbated 3 times to see what the hell's going on, and nothing came off for all 3. And it's just it's really scary to see this. I did it 3 times, and that's it. I'm off the drugs. And the next day, I masturbated, and something came out. So it was this drug. So, and so now I'm going to now take control of my meds. Okay, no longer is the doctor going to control turn me from a human into an animal, a Hannibal. I never thought about that. Hang on a second. Hannibal Lecter. 1 second. So this is about the time when I filed this lawsuit against James Randi for the $1 Million Challenge. And I'm now pretty close off my drugs. Again, there's sleep issues that have to be dealt with, but it takes a little gradual time, but I eventually got off it. And so I'm guessing I went about 4 months without it, almost completely without medication. And during this time, I realized that nobody can lie to me under oath now. And this is where I realized that these drugs coming off, it's not so much being on them for a while and then coming off is what causes magic and reality to become more real. And so now I'm realizing that, I'm going to start taking these drugs. I'm a little bit concerned that if I start taking the drugs, a lot of them again, that people are going to be able to lie under oath. I got a feeling that this is kind of why I became medicated in the first place. There's a number of reasons. There's usually more than one reason for everything in my life. For when I became bipolar and needed medication, it's God's way of saying. One reason is God's way of saying you need to be stronger. This is a way for you getting stronger, which I didn't really realize this. This is how you get stronger spiritually. I did consider it spiritual food for a long time, since almost the beginning, but I didn't realize the level of what it could mean, and that would be implementing the oath. And it's too bad that it requires such a strong dosage of this medication but it's the strongness of the medication followed by going without it for, guessing, 1 to 4 weeks, that causes it to become solidified. In other words, it's like you're blowing up a balloon. Let me think of an analogy. Hang on. I guess a simple analogy would be when you're working out you do not get stronger right away. You don't. I mean, you're only stronger within that workout session. You get weaker, and you won't be able to lift as much as it goes on. So you get weak, and then when you take a day off to rest, your muscles build up, and you become stronger over the next 3 to 5 days, such that when you go work out again, you can lift more weight. So this is kind of the idea with the drugs, is that, and it works more long term. I got to take the drugs for, it seems to be, is 2 or 3 years, and I was on Zyprexa back in GE for 2 solid years before what I call level 2, God level 2. I'm not even sure what level I am right now, but when this oath happened, I have to look up what level that is. But one second. I'm sorry, I strayed there a little bit. I was talking about the multiple reasons for the drugs. Another one is that a lot of people out there think I'm crazy, so I need them for that. That's 2 reasons. The third one is, I'm pretty sure that this truth under oath was locking in, probably maybe since I was born, but maybe a little bit since I was born. It's been slowly been getting stronger over the years, such that in '99, my demons and others that are in the legal system are realizing that it's because of me. At this point, they realize it's because of me, of some way, and so we need to put them on drugs. And putting me on drugs actually prevents the oath from locking in, and you can lie under oath. Okay. Now, the stronger I'm on the drugs, the more they can lie. When I was in the GE case, I was in a deposition, and the entire case was full of lies. Okay. And I was completely drugged out for that one. And what I've noticed, one sec. It's when I went off the drugs in 2007 for about 3 or 4 months. It's weird. I'm just being completely normal. Nobody would ever know, but it's like they know. And I think it's because people were now locked in under oath. They couldn't lie under oath, and it's making everybody concerned. Because I'm faking it. I'm an actor, and I'm just faking the fact that I'm just completely normal without drugs. And really, I am. I am pretty normal. But at this point, so going back, and I'm jumping on a tiny bit here, but I was concerned that if I went back on drugs in 2007, that they could lie to me under oath, and I sort of ran some tests, and I don't think that's the case. I believe it's locked in now, no matter what drugs the amount of drugs I'm on. One sec. But it's in March, April 2007 when I proved that the oath was locked in with James Randi, and I'm just a little bit perturbed that everybody's trying to kill me, and nobody really cares about the truth, as I'm just finding out. So I go to the police, look at the Burnsville police link, and I went there to get some help for my safety concerns. And they caged me, so I'm in the VA this time. This is my 6th caging now, and I won't say my last, because by the time you see this, there may be another one. One second. So implementing the oath, I now have some leverage in life. This is also why truth under oath is why they could never commit me. I mean, they're talking about, every time I got caged, they're talking about commit me, but there was like this, it's like they knew that they couldn't take me into a courtroom and actually say that I'm insane. See, it's a weird system in which I am like insane by my doctors under all the records outside the oath, but with my GE case, they're telling me I'm not mentally ill or insane or any sort. So I'm just really mad at life here, because when I can be protected by the law for legal reasons for his lawsuits, I'm no longer given privileges of a disabled, mentally ill patron. But whenever I get caged, then it's like, well, you're a nut job. and I get caged, and it's really a frustrating deal. I'm just pissed off at my doctor over in the VA, and I asked him, why don't you send me your records? Send me your records under oath, or just send me a statement that says Chris Roller's records at the VA are the truth. And he won't do it. So I want him notarized. It's an affidavit. I want him notarized as a simple statement saying that I am not God. I asked him a few statements, one of them being Chris Roller's not God, and Chris Roller is mentally ill, and a few other statements, but the Chris Roller's records are the truth. And he refuses to sign this. So, and he acts like I'm some kind of game player or something, and yet what I'm doing is legal. And he thinks that I'm a problem child by asking for this. And I think he's the problem child because he's not doing things legally. See, I've actually got leverage here with this oath. And, one second. So since December 2006, when I went on a cold turkey stop, I just kept ordering my drugs. It's kind of like a Beautiful Mind where the guy's storing his tablets in a drawer. I'm storing them in my freezer. And again, I started up using them again. I'm basically did some experimenting to see when this medical condition occurs, where this ejaculation will stop, will become normal again. So through some experimentation, I got it down to about one third or 1/4 of the doctor's dosages. What I'm needed to give me a normalcy in my life. At the same time, the medical condition goes away, and at the same time, it gives me enough strength. It gives me enough spiritual food to keep going with my show and the progress of godly powers on the planet. 1 second. So as of yesterday was the 23rd of December, and I saw my doctor, Dr. Dean, at the VA, and I just thought it'd be kind of funny. Again, I thought I might get caged. I was prepared for caging actually this time, but it didn't happen. I wore a shirt that says "I'm God." It had to happen to somebody, and on the back says "I'm the second coming." Hey, number 2 happens. And I'm kind of flaunting this around the intake to the doctor's office, and some people are getting a chuckle out of it. It's kind of cool. It's kind of I'm saying, hey, this is just where you're supposed to go to cure this condition I have right here, And if I take a pill, does it just kind of magically go away? The shirt just kind of disappears, And it was a little bit funny. I was trying to make some fun out of it. And my doctor, he wasn't terribly impressed with my sense of humor, and but I didn't get caged. They've actually become a little bit more because of my bitching about this Jesus Miranda, being in danger, and that it is a real thing saying that there's a real danger in saying that you're a god. The false prophet syndrome, which I'm the devil in disguise, and 1 second. Sorry, that was my stomach growling there. So there's a danger in what I'm doing. This is my bitching session for the police department. That there is a sense of danger that I'm in, and yet they could give a crap about me. It seems like, and the psychiatric, they're not telling me that I'm mentally ill under oath. They refuse to give me this statement, and they act like, of course they say, oh, I don't need to. I don't have to. I don't need to. I don't want to help you out, Chris Roller, because you're just a peon, and I control the world with my drug medications and stuff. And again, but in all my bitching, it seems like I've earned some respect in what I do, and I'm telling my doctor that I'm taking the dosage. That's the reason why I haven't really been ordering drugs for last year, since about December of 2007 I stopped even ordering them. So I got a year's worth of drugs, and I'm only using about 1/4 the dosage, so it's going to last me about 3 or 4 years. So, even though it seems like I'm using it quicker than that, it maybe probably about the last 2 or 3 years. 1 second. So in about October of 2007, the oath went global. At least I was able. It sort of like solidified that it went global. Before it was just me in the courtroom that you couldn't lie under oath. But I'm pretty sure it's global now, where nobody can lie under oath. And you know, if I wasn't a dead man before, I really am now. I mean, the liar is the truth. The lawyers like to lie. They need to lie in order to get their case done. Although there are alternatives to this that they get around the truth, though. They can get around it, but not really a frustrating deal for me. 1 second. And then in June of 2008, I started advertising Wish Mission as using the power of suggestion to heal people. So I'm trying to see where that goes. So far, I'm 100%, but it's just that it might take a while for it to be a little bit more popular in reality, because doing this is sort of a confirmation of miracles, and it may take a while before these things can be actually realized. The way that it's not an exact dose that I use on my medication, but it's used to regulate my sleep. If I'm starting to sleep too much during the day, then I cut back a little bit, and if I have trouble sleeping, then I use more. So that's kind of how I determine spiritually. That's how I determine my spiritual appetite. 1 second. But one thing I've realized in 2002, when I was suicidal, I was depressed because I was on the drugs, and they're supposed to prevent you from. They're supposed to be antidepressant, and they were making me more depressed. And they're also, these drugs are supposed to be anti-manic. And what happened is that when I'm off the drugs, I'm actually more manic now. It's almost like the drugs, in its prevention to prevent me from being manic, is it actually made me more manic when I'm off them. I know that you're saying that's because you're not on them that you're more manic, but I'm saying is that my mind is gone. My mind is actually either quicker because of the drugs. It's like my mind is much more speedy. Thought processes are very quick now. And yes, the drugs do help slow that down, but I don't think I'm not sure if my brain was quite that quick before, say, like 10 years ago. So, but it's ironic that the stuff's supposed to prevent you from getting manic. It's almost like I'm more manic as a result of the drugs. So I'm more depressed on the drugs, more manic off them. I know that doesn't jive right, but see, without the drugs 10 years ago, I was less manic than I am without the drugs now. So they sort of damaged me in some sense. I can go without the drugs for 1 or 2 weeks, and everything is fine. I mean, everything's fine. I mean, I can get over the sleep things, and the maniacy of my mind racing takes about a week or 2 to actually stabilize, and then my sleep pattern is fixed. So I can go back to no drugs and be basically quite normal, like I was in 2007 when I was, masquerading as a normal man, which I sort of am. But I can go without them, but I know that the stuff is good for me, so that's why I stayed on them. People would ask, Chris, if you're getting bent over, if you're not mentally ill, why do you take them? It's because I know they're good for me. I didn't quite know how good for me until the oath was implemented in 2007, January. And the bees died. Also, I forgot to tell you about the bees dying. That was December 10th as well. Got reports of that. So that's precisely the day I went off the drugs and was able to ejaculate with the orgasm. My dad told me about reports of the bees dying. Didn't think that was me at first, and then I realized that there's a coordination of this. There's a coincidence, and it's related to me. The bees dying is because pollination is now a magical event, in part, if not whole, by me now. So this stuff is good for me, and that's why God introduced me to it, because I needed this to become stronger, and it's just that it takes a long time for things to become stable. I may go off them for a few days to allow like when you work out and you stop working out to build your muscles up. I go off the drugs for a few days to allow my spiritual muscle to grow and to see if anything is going to become more real in this world. And at times I will go off for a week or two for that rebuild process to take place. Just experiment to see if there's anything to be rebuilt. But normally the dosage amount doesn't really require. The dosage amount actually allows me to build the muscle at the same time. Okay, allows me to exercise the muscle to become stronger. At the same time, it lets it relax too. So I'm at a good stable point where, you know what I'm saying, you work out, you can't get stronger, you get weaker, but then you rest a day or two and you get stronger. The dosage amount also almost allows me to work out while rebuilding at the same time. But it will take a few days off to make sure that I'm correct on this notion. So I think that's about it.